All right. First, I will show you something about the practical matters. And if you have a question, just ask. And I'll share my screen. So these are the dates. But for Karel, the first day, the arrival is in the afternoon. So the 3rd of January, which is on a Friday, from 3 o'clock, you are welcome. And we start all together in the evening about 7, I guess. We have dinner at 5:30, and then 7 till about 9, maybe 9:30, we'll have a first meeting all together. The last day is at the 12th of January, and we have the last meeting also all together in the morning. And the departure is after lunch, about 2 o'clock. And everyone is really asked to stay till that moment. Maybe you can leave before lunch, but it is very nice if everyone starts together and everyone leaves together. So you can leave in the morning. And this is a Sunday. Yeah, Friday, Sunday. And in between you have 7 days of workshops. And these 7 days are quite intense. It is an intensive training. So we start, I have a schedule here. This is not maybe a schedule that we will use, but it's a schedule that is used at an IIT. So you see that after breakfast at 9 o'clock, it starts with the community meeting. Then we have a little break, and then the first workshop starts from 2 hours. And then we have a lunch break. Then we have a session of home groups, and home groups, you will be part of a small group, about 5 people, maybe 6, maybe 4. And every day you can have an exchange about what is important for you, where are your learning points, what's happening. You can listen empathically towards each other. You are a member of a small group, because we will be with 80 people, and this home group, it will be your little family. A break, and session 3, again 2 hours. And then we have a community meeting again. Every day we start together and we finish together. Dinner break, and then in the evening there are also sessions, maybe most of the time certification trainers in education do these evening sessions where they can learn from.
I see that Karel has a question, Hester. I saw Karel show the hand.
Another practical question. Is there a gym in the place where we stay?
Ah, great question.
No, there's no gym, but in the morning there are always people who do some exercise things. You can take a walk, and you can go outside.
Yeah, and often people offer some yoga or some I'm considering offering some Pilates on my beginner's level. And you can also offer like going for joggings together or whatever. So that's often something that rises from the community, that people offer their skills and their passion and share it with each other. So that probably will happen somehow.
Yeah. In the IITs where I was, these home groups were at the end of the day. So here it's in the middle of the day, but it can be at the end of the day, and the trainer team will decide how this will be, but this is about it. So there are 2 workshops you choose every day from 2 hours.
And we can already tell you now that there is a syndrome that you probably all heard of before. It's the FOMO that will certainly happen as you see this program, and this goes on for 7 days. You will deal with fear of missing out, and that's one of the practices you'll need to do. Like, where do I go? Where don't I go? And what do I need also where do I put self-care in this? How do I balance my energy? And that's quite a challenge. And then your home groups can be really helpful to talk about it, to support each other. And just wanted to add this.
Thank you. Every day has a theme. So first day is self-connection, and that's then the Saturday, self-connection, and Sunday, scary honesty. And then the empathy, dynamics of empathy for the healing, transformation, evolution. 5th day is mediation and conflict resolution. The 6th day is social change. And in the evening of the 6th day, we will have the giraffes around the world, which means that people who do some things in the local community with NVC will tell about their projects. 7th day is sharing NVC, parenting NVC in schools, and the 8th day is gratitude. And we also have the No Need for Talent show. That's for later. The trainers, we as organizers, we chose the trainers. And I would like to tell you a short why we chose these people. We asked Corrylaura because I know her, but also I want to honor what she built in about more than 25 years in the Dutch-speaking community. So I really liked her to join this. We asked Irmtraut Kausjat, we really need a trainer who is very experienced, and Irmtraut is very experienced. Olga Nguyen, she was born in Vietnam, and she lived in Russia and Ukraine, and she lives now in the UK. And that's also very important for us. She's actually coming from the Global South and from this politically very rural region, of course. So that's important that she's there too. And Aga comes from Poland. She's also quite experienced. And we as organizers really wanted someone from the Eastern Europe countries. And Mironel de Wilde comes from Nepal. He was born in the Netherlands, but that was not very important. What was important for us is that he is very inspired by Robert Gonzalez. So that we had our reasons why we asked these people. This is the venue, which is, you can also see it in our little film video we made of the organizers, and it's some old monastery, and that's it.
Yeah, I can join you in there because I'm at the other side. I didn't join everything because for me, it was too overwhelming if I would be everywhere. So my biggest challenge the first time was to be honest with myself and what I said, to deal with the FOMO and to not wait for others or not wait for the exhaustion, but to know myself, to know my own signals. And that's actually also my topic that I will introduce in some minutes, the self-regulation, which really starts with knowing my own nerve system, knowing my own body that gives signs to me that tell me I need some rest, and that I then know myself, what is resting for me? It doesn't always mean for me not being present. Sometimes it means for me being present. I see your hand, Karel, and I will come with you too. Thank you. So being present, but maybe not taking actively part in the practices, for example, or allowing myself to I often in Germany in the IIT, I sat in a corner on a mattress, sat or laid down, and I just listened with my own eyes closed. So it's really, it asks quite some self-knowledge and taking yourself serious, and ask support if you need it. If you need support in finding your way in caring for yourself, then you have a community that can support you in that. So that could also be a topic for you to work on actually in an IIT. And it is, I can say it is a lot. So it just asks people to really get to know themselves and take care in a way they know. That's what, and one thing we will do, if I remember well, Hester, or I made it up, tell me. I think I remember that we would make sure that there would be a room where we provide silence, where people can go, and that it would be oh great, I thought so. Yeah.
As an attending trainer, we look at people and we will ask you, are you taking care of yourself? Yeah. Is this all right for you?
And attending trainers, for people who don't know the term, it's trainers that also come to support. So it's extra on top of the trainer team that we have other trainers joining us. So maybe Karel, you wanted to share something too.
Yeah, so grasping the whole thing. So 4 sessions a day, 8 days in a row, it will be a lot. And I hear you telling about being silent as a coping mechanism. Is it allowed to go off-site to do sports? My coping mechanism is sports.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's actually really what we encourage. And this is really a place where you don't need to fit in or please, or it's really about how can I be me, everyone, how can we be us? And how do we do that in connection with others? How can we go away and still there can be connection? And this is actually the bigger topic of the whole training, the topic of interdependence. How do we live interdependence? How can we take care of ourselves and in the same time of the whole? And that will be a topic that we will all together dive into and explore. So I would just encourage, if you would want to go for a run, you can go. And if I would miss you at some point, then I have a chance and an opportunity to speak honest to you. So that I'm quite passionate about self-regulation, about self-connection, self-empathy. And in the same time, where do I start? What I often see these days is that people share NVC as a tool, as a technique, as maybe you heard from it, the 4 steps, the model of the 4 steps. When I see you doing this, I feel because I need. So are you willing? No. When you say that you are not willing, I feel, and so on and so on and so on. And then I hear people say, oh my NVC, no, please don't come with that crap to me because it's so manipulative. It's just a technique. And that's the trap of that. There is a trap in NVC, I would say. And maybe I can share something with you that will maybe not be new. Let me try. Do you see the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. But for me, and maybe this is for those who have been into NVC courses, you know this, of course, that it's always that NVC is really about 3 choices. It is about, of course, empathy for myself, but often people focus, I hear, on the honest expression. How do I speak up? How do I put boundaries? And then the trap is that it becomes more like this technique and that we go beyond the big intention in NVC is actually in connection. How can we connect? And that's what, when it comes to me, I always say it really starts with how do I influence myself, which is the upper corner, actually, the empathy for myself. How do I influence myself? When someone speaks to me, you can influence me, but when you have said your words, your influence is gone, because then it's in my head, I always say, and then I start to influence myself. And how do I do that? What do I say to myself? How do I deal with emotions that stir up? How do I deal with the triggers in me or beliefs that I have? And I tend to say that the quality of my inner world has such a huge impact on the quality of my outer world. And therefore, I use, and now I will take this image away so that you see me and I see you again, which I prefer actually. I always tend to say that in NVC we have these 4, een klaverblad. I don't have a clue how to say that in English. You know this little plant with 4 leaves?
Clover, I think.
Say it again, Kathleen.
Clover?
Clover. I see Kimberly nodding. So a clover. And I always see these 4 leaves. And for me, there are 4 areas where we can learn NVC. And I think this is really what we also do in an IIT, to give you a little glimpse of what is it that we are doing there. One part is, of course, some framework. You saw the topics, you saw the content. Of course, we will give you some premises about NVC. We will give you some just theory. Do we say that in English also, theory? Yeah, framework. So input, what is NVC? How do we look at anger? What's behind everyone's behavior? What's the needs, of course, and so on and so. There's a lot of theory that we, of course, share. And that what is honest speaking? What is self-empathy? We can talk a lot about it. And it's probably everyone here knows it, I guess. I'm not sure. that it's so easy. The theory is a piece of cake. And then we want to do it. Then we want to practice this, and I want to live this. And then often I will talk about me. When I started the first years, I was completely blown away with, this is so easy. So why is it so hard? And that's the skill building, which is quite important. How do we do this? And that means one of Marshall's favorite expressions, practice, 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 practice. Repeat, practice, 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 practice. So that will be one of my favorite things to do in the IIT, practice together. How can we organize as much practice as we can? And then, of course, we have the theory, we have the skills, and then we are practicing, and then we get triggered. It doesn't happen how we thought it would happen. It doesn't give the reaction that I was wishing for. And then something happens in me. And that's getting to know myself. How do I look at life, at me, at you? How do I deal with differences? What beliefs do I have? What are my trigger points? Where is old pain being stimulated? My enemy images. And that's more the leaf of the self-knowledge and self-awareness. Taking ownership. Where is my power? And how do I share power? How do I do that actually? And then we're back into the skill building. And then the fourth leaf, and it's a very important one, certainly at an IIT, it's the embodying all these. How do we live this? How do we embody this? And that's what we can do all the time in an IIT, because we will live together and we will absolutely trigger each other. We will hear people do things that we don't like. People do things that we do like. And how do we live this? How do we express gratitude? How do we ask for something else? How do we ask for support? And that's the embodying and the living NVC. So your ask, can I just go for a run? Yes, please, Karel, do. Because probably it will inspire some people to do something similar. And probably it will trigger some people that then can work and discover something about themselves and work with that. So that's really what we invite in an IIT. Now I just first breathe a little bit. That's my passion that came out, as you might have noticed. So I want to be silent now, and just, it would be lovely for me to hear, does it stimulate something in you? Do you have questions or a reaction? What comes alive in you hearing all this? Yeah, go for it, Alicia.
What is my experience? I discovered freedom. For me, is NVC about freedom. Between the stimulus and my reaction, I discovered a big space, bigger than I thought. And it gave me so nice feeling that stimulated me to discover more and more and more. That's why I think NVC is also about freedom.
Yeah, I call it choice. Thank you for naming it. So beautiful. Yeah. And it's funny, Alicia, some people call it's to find this split second between the trigger, the stimulus and the response. And I love how you say there's such a big space. I really like your image. Thank you. So more questions coming up or reactions? I will look into my... Yeah, go for it.
I find it very interesting. The more that I read and learn about violent communication, and the more I try to apply it, that I find myself stuck in the expectation that my conversational partner has to mirror me. And if they don't mirror me, then I can't reach the point of connection, or it's harder to reach that point of empathy, because I feel like one of us is doing more emotional labor than the other person. And I wonder how the workshops help you deal with that.
Yeah, interesting question. And I'm not sure if I fully get it. So my first reaction is some curiosity. Would it be okay for you that I ask some question?
Of course, yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you. So when you say that it's hard for you when your partner doesn't mirror you, I got that right?
Mhm.
I can imagine many things. So I would love to hear, what is it that your partner is doing on a moment that
Well,
when mirroring?
I'm just saying, like, my conversational partner, just
Yeah,
like partners in
that's what I
general,
heard.
people.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, I had a argument with my dad a few
Always
days ago,
interesting, parents.
and I was very frustrated by his lack of accountability and like self-awareness. And I felt like we're just talking in circles because I'm trying to like get to them, but I'm just not quite reaching them. And I can be very curious about them, but if they're not curious about me, then like we are stuck in a limbo.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Now I get it a little bit more, and I will give some input on it. I'm for sure very willing to do it, and in the same time, I feel a little bit hesitant because it's already actually going into training, and I would like more space to attend to this because I think there's much more to explore, and that's what I like so much in NVC, that it's not about question and answer, because that would be for me, you ask and I as a teacher know. And to be honest, I don't know. This is something that, of course, I also struggle with, and there is not one general answer for me. So I would be more curious in the concrete observations. What is it that he's doing? And then when you say he doesn't have, and now I forgot your word. I was distracted with my little dog passing by. Sorry. I forgot your word saying my dad doesn't show interest, not interested. And
Right.
again?
Self-awareness, maybe?
Yeah.
Or curiosity?
Or curiosity, yeah. And the thing is, and now I'll be a little bit a teacher because of the lack of time, just so you know, this is not how I enjoy it the most. So it would be more in a dialogue normally. But how I look at it right now, it's that when you say he doesn't show interest, that's in NVC what we would call an enemy image. And that's my enemy image already in the way of really connecting with him. And so for me, that's actually for me the self-empathy and the self-regulation that I would find out, hey, what is it? And then there are my emotions just pointing me the way to my needs. It's that my emotions is not necessarily to be shared, which often is in MVC, but I'm not so fond of sharing too much emotion with everyone. So it's more about, I miss interest. So what is it that I could actually ask him? I will give you an example. My dad, and I'm not sure if it will be inspiring for you, but when you talk, I immediately see my own dad. And I'm in the office with him, and he's typing at his computer. And I talk. And like, hello, hi, I'm here. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, but really, you're just continuing your work. Could you just, but this energy, like he's not showing any interest in me, but that's just me telling myself this story. And this was me when I was 20, just so you know, that's when I got to know NVC. And I learned, okay, so Dad, when you continue typing at your computer, yes. And then he looked at me and like, okay, and now I don't feel listened to, but I am listening, of course. Okay, wait. So when you continue typing while I'm speaking, I feel a little bit lonely. This was my very clumsy time. And then he looked at me like, what? Quite weird to say this in the beginning. We were not used to speak this language. But it's like finding my soft spot and being willing to share from this soft spot. And I don't know your situation, so I don't know if that would be doable with the conversation partners that you're thinking of. But this is actually what we are aiming for. And then I would say, so I really need to be listened to. And then you can imagine my dad's reaction, but I am listening. Okay, what is it? What is it? I'm actually missing some connection, Dad. Would you be willing maybe to stop typing for a while? And I make it very concrete. And his answer was, yeah, but you always come into the office at 4:30, and he is on the beurs. How do you say that, Hester?
Oh, yeah.
The
The
stockage or something?
Stock market.
Stock market, yeah. And that's exactly when it closes. This was so helpful. And since then, our connection completely shifted. But it starts with, how am I influencing myself when the other one does something that is disturbing for me? And that's actually the example. Instead of focusing on what should the other one do different so that I am happy, what do I need and what can I ask the other one? Because I work a lot with couples, and then, yeah, I'm missing some initiative. And then the partner looks like, but I am taking initiative. No, you're not. But so we are not coming to this concrete request. What is initiative? What is it? Or I'm missing some attention. And then you see the eyes rolling like, attention, come on. Like, what is it? What could someone do? So I bring it back now to the core, to the 4 steps that can be a focus, of course, not to share them in 4 steps, but to first find out and come from the need land, not just with words, but also with your energy, so that it's inviting for the other one to meet you there.
Yeah.
That's what comes up in me now within this very short time. So I'm curious, how does it land in you, Kimberly? And everything is welcome.
It sounds very logical, very understandable.
Yeah.
And it's also, I mean, I guess like everything new that you're learning, or well, not learning, because I think learning is easier than unlearning. I think it's going to be very hard, but also very rewarding to unlearn these ways of communication that are very reactive, maybe, rather than responsive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it sounds exciting.
Yeah, great.
And promising.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your question also was, Kimberly, whether there was space in the workshop for situations or like this, and the answer is yes.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. My intention is also to really provide dialogue, just places where people can come to practice their dialogues, just that, to do it, get feedback from each other, learn from each other. That's really my intention, to make it very concrete. And I guess some others too. We all have our ideas, of course. Yeah. But the main thing is to come, when I think of the 2 streets, you might know, like the 4 components and their, what we sometimes call their traps, or the other side, like observations, thinking, feeling, thinking, and so on. It's not just about finding the right words, not at all, actually. It's not so much about the words, Marshall would say. The words help to get it clear, but it's really about, how do I get myself into the energy of these values, to say it with both Robert's words, the beauty of the needs. It's emotional now, which I really enjoy the beauty they brought there and the clarity on this topic. Yeah, which Mironel is more home in this also, to how to go to this energy, how to find this energy in me where I can meet, and where it's more likely that the other one will want to connect to, where it's more easy. Yeah. Thank you for your beautiful question. So I'm looking at the time, it's 8:30. So if you have questions, shoot, don't hesitate, I would say. Oh, is it?
Alicia?
Yes. I thought we'll hear more about importance of self-regulation, and I'm waiting still. Do you want to tell something about it already? That I don't know.
Aha. Oh, interesting. So did I get it well that you are waiting for the topic of self-regulation and what it means? Aha.
Yes, because this was the theme of meeting tonight.
Absolutely. And I thought I've been sharing about it all the time, but apparently I was not clear. So I didn't come across. So thank you for asking again. So for me, the self-regulation It's where everything starts. So, and we call in NVC, we call it the self-empathy place. And what do we do in self-empathy? I always say, I need to be home in me. I need to root myself. And it's actually what you said, Alicia, to bring myself in this place where I can act from choice instead of responding. It's how we say it in English, I think. I always say to act instead of react. And that's for me what self-regulation is about. And to find what do you need to be able to self-regulate? And it's, for me, it means to become aware, first of all, of what are my needs? What are my triggers? This is in this leaf of self-awareness and self-knowledge. What are old pains? What are my beliefs? What have I been telling myself? What has been told to me? Becoming aware of them is one. And then, of course, trigger work, for example, is a very good way to practice this self-regulation. What if I have this very intense thinking and emotions? Self-regulation means, how can I always call it also calm my nerve system down, because that's what happens when I get overreactive. It's that my nerve system is going everywhere. So I have a background also in somatic experiencing. I'm in that training also. And that's maybe you know it. I see you nodding. Some people know it. Yeah. So the self-regulation, it's actually just another word for self-empathy. And what I find important is that everyone can find their tools, their ways, their entrances to self-regulate. And that's my passion, to support people and inspiring people, of course, in finding their ways, which sometimes mean trigger work, sometimes means forgiveness work, like what is needed. And one of the things is, of course, to get to know your own signals instead of becoming one with your thoughts and acting from this, like, what happens in my body when I have all these thoughts? And when I say that I'm angry, okay, that's one thing, but what's sensoris? I don't know how to say that in English. You know what I mean? Someone doesn't know?
Like the sensory experience, the
yeah, the
body
physical
experience.
awarenesses, yeah, body sensations, yeah, because even being with the word angry it's already a summary of something that happens physically in my body, and to know my own signals and to be able how to regulate themselves. We have the self-empathy process for that, the self-empathy dance, for example, or working with enemy images and then tracking yourself. Like, we have all kind of tools, and every trainer has their own expertise, of course, that we add to it, because the self-regulation is the goal. But how you get there, it's different for everyone. It could be go for a run, like Karel said. That could be the perfect way to self-regulate. So there's much more to say, of course, but I keep it very short now. But for me, that's where it starts. I cannot go for honest speaking and any empathic listening when people are not able to self-regulate. The word ownership pops up in me. So where to if I notice that I'm taken away by my emotions, and often we don't find that so comfortable, how can I own again my own deeds? How can I own my own emotion? And of course, emotions are there and they're alive, but how can I, for me, it's another word of like choice and freedom. How can I act from this place of choice and freedom again? And that's not so easy. So have we fulfilled the needs that brought you here? Yeah, I see some nodding. Oh, great.
More and more enthusiastic, more and more curious. And really, I like it very much. And everything what I do not know yet is triggering me. Everything what I cannot do yet is triggering me. I like it. So thank you very much. Even this 1 hour gave me more. So thank you.
I'm just very grateful for all the information. And it's something to look forward to.
Great.